In this video, I'm going to explain how to sell music online and make money as an independent artist. And if you're thinking to yourself, but Justin, nobody buys music anymore, everyone just streams it. Well, I understand why you would think that, but you would be wrong, because last year in the United States alone, $2 billion worth of recorded music was sold. That's sold. That does not include streaming. That's paid downloads and physical purchases. Worldwide last year, $4.5 billion worth of physical CDs and vinyl were sold. Yes, most music is streamed these days, and yes, streaming revenue, of course, makes up the lion's share of all revenue generated from recorded music. But to say that nobody buys music anymore is simply factually incorrect. People still buy music. What's changed is why people buy music. So in this video, I'm going to dispel the myth that nobody buys music. I'm going to explain why people will buy your music, and I'm going to share some resources to help you facilitate the purchase. In other words, how to actually sell your music online, how to collect payment, how to deliver the music, and so on. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, when the recording industry was at its absolute peak back in the late 90s, revenue from sales of music in the US alone was over $14 billion. Now, 20 years later, revenue from music sales in the US is down to just $2 billion. Now, this is obviously a really big drop off, but let's first talk about why that is. Well, back in the late 90s, you had to buy music if you wanted to listen to anything besides the radio. We didn't have smartphones, a lot of people still didn't have home computers, and for those that did, internet speeds were far too slow for streaming music to even be a thing. Even in the late 90s, early 2000s, when Napster came along and people started illegally downloading music for the first time, it still took forever to download. So you had to actually start downloading a song before you went to bed at night so it would be ready to listen to in the morning. Streaming was still years away at that point. So back in the late 90s, when the recording industry was at its pinnacle, so much revenue was being generated because that's how people had to listen to music. And most of the time, you couldn't just buy singles. Record labels would push individual songs off an album, but if you wanted to actually be able to listen to that song anytime you wanted, you had to go buy the CD. And your only option most of the time was to buy the whole album for $15 or $20. So if there was one song that you wanted to be able to listen to anytime you wanted, it would cost you about $15 to $20. Nowadays, you already have the song in your pocket before you've even discovered it. Just pull out your phone and stream whatever you want. All right, so if nobody has to pay for music anymore, everyone can just stream anything they want, why the heck are billions of dollars being spent on recorded music every year? Don't people know they can just go stream it? Well, of course, right? So we've already established that people are still buying music, so we can dispel the myth that nobody buys music. We can throw that right out the window. What's changed since the late 90s is not that nobody buys music anymore. What's changed is the reason why people buy music. It used to be because you had to. Now it's because people want to. I'm going to elaborate more on that in just a moment. First, in order to help you better understand why people buy music and why people will buy your music, I want to introduce you to a concept that I call the KFS Factor. Now, let me adjust this a little so there's less of a glare and maybe you can actually read it a bit. There we go. All right, so what is the KFS Factor? All right, so the KFS Factor represents how people are going to interact with your music. It stands for No Fan, Superfan. And these are three distinct groups of people. First, you have people that know who you are, then you have fans, and then you have your super fans. So each one of these groups is going to interact with your music a little bit differently. So people that just know who you are, like think about somebody that, artists that you know, right? So there's probably tons of artists out there that you're not necessarily a fan of, but you at least know that they exist. So maybe, top 40 hit songs, top 40 artists. You have people like Taylor Swift, Justin Bieber, Drake, whoever. Like all of these artists are people that are pretty commonly known, but just because somebody knows who they are doesn't mean that they're a fan of their music or they're going to listen to their music. So right now, most people probably don't know who you are. They have no idea who you are. So your first step into starting to build a fan base is getting people to know who you are. So this is the first step right here. You have to get, your music in front of people so they know of you, they know that you exist, they know that your music exists. And then of those people, some will become fans of yours, and then some will become those super fans that are going to, come out to all your shows, buy all your music, buy all your merch, etc. So your first step in creating awareness and getting your music out to people is getting people to know you first. And as you get more people in this bucket, more people become aware of your music, aware that you exist. Some of those people are inevitably going to become fans, and then some of those people will become super fans. So your first goal is to get as many people as possible to know who you are. Now, people that are at this stage Once they know who you are, that's fantastic, but just because they know you doesn't mean they necessarily like you or that they like your music. So at this stage, people might stream your music. They might follow you on social media. They might even join your email list. So they might, all right, so they might stream your music. They might follow you here. But what these people are not gonna do is they're not gonna buy your music, they're not gonna buy your merch, and they're probably not gonna come see you live. So people that know who you are might stream your music, they might follow you, they're not gonna buy anything from you. It's very, very unlikely that they're at a point right now where they're gonna buy anything from you. But if you get more people to know who you are, the more people you get to know who you are, the higher the likelihood it is that some percentage of those people are going to become fans of yours. So as more people get to know you, you'll probably generate more fans as well. Now, as somebody becomes a fan of yours, now they will stream your music for sure. So they will stream your music, they will follow you on social media, they might even spend money on music, merch, etc. They might come see you perform live. And then you have your super fans. Now your super fans will of course stream your music, they will follow you, they will buy your music, they will come see you perform live, they will buy your merch. As long as you give them a reason to buy your music, they will do that. We'll talk more about that in just a second. But you have to first understand the difference between these people, because when you say nobody buys music anymore, yeah, these people don't buy music. They have no reason to buy your music. They're not going to buy your music. They will stream it. They might stream it. These people, they will stream your music. These people will buy your music. Like, for example, I know who Taylor Swift is. Taylor Swift is very popular. I'm sure you know who Taylor Swift is as well. Taylor Swift is very popular. She's very, very talented artist. Just not my cup of tea. Not the style of music that I listen to. She's very good at what she does. Just not my style of music. So I'm not, I know who she is, but I'm not going to stream her music. I'm not going to follow her. I'm not going to see her live unless, maybe my niece wants to go to a concert and begs me to take her or something like that. But I'm not even going to stream her music. So there's no way I'm going to buy her music. Because I'm just at this stage with Taylor Swift. I know who she is, not a fan. Nothing against Taylor Swift, just not a fan, not my cup of tea. Now, a band that I am a fan of would be 9 Inch Nails. So I will spend money with 9 Inch Nails. I definitely stream their music. I'd probably follow them on social media. But if I find out that they're playing down the street at Hollywood Bowl, then yeah, you better believe I'm going to get a ticket to go see that show. Not only am I going to get a ticket, I'm probably going to spend a little bit of extra money to get a good ticket. And then once I go to the show, there's a pretty good chance that I'm probably going to buy a t-shirt at least. And you know what, who knows, I might even buy a CD. I might buy some music if I get drunk enough. I'm probably have a few beers while I'm at the show. We'll see. They might just hand over my credit card. But the difference here is I'm an actual fan, so I'm willing to spend money with 9 Inch Nails. And if they give me a reason to, I might actually spend money on music. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about that, why people are willing to spend money on music. All right, so we've already established that people are still spending billions of dollars a year buying music. So why is that? Why would somebody buy music? You may or may not buy music, but you have to be aware that some people do. So the first thing you need to realize is that you are not your fans. Just because you don't spend money on music doesn't mean that your fans don't spend money on music, or your potential future fans once you get those. Now, there's a concept in psychology called false consensus, and that's where we mistakenly think that because we think something that's how everybody thinks, right? And that's just not the way the world works. If everybody thought the same, there would be no political debates. There would be no reason for court systems. There wouldn't be any law because everyone would just agree things are right and wrong. This is the way things are supposed to be. This is the way who are you going to vote for? Oh, the same person as you, obviously, because we all think the same thing. That's not how the world works. So the first thing to realize is that just because you don't necessarily spend much money on music doesn't mean that people out there don't spend money on music. They do. So let's talk about why that is. Why do people spend money on music if they could just stream whatever music they want for free or for their paid subscription to Spotify or whatever? Well, first of all, like I said before, these people aren't going to spend money with you just because they know you. They have to be fans of yours. So once somebody is a fan of yours, then they might be willing to spend money with you. But they're not just going to buy your album just because they're a fan and just because it's available. You have to give them a reason to buy. So how do you do that? Well, one of the simplest things that you can do is release exclusive content that's only available to people that purchase your music. So if, let's say you release a new album or you got new music to stream, if you make some music available to stream and then you have that music available to buy, and when somebody spends money to buy that music, they also get, tracks X, Y, and Z bonus stuff that's not available to stream. Now you're giving them a reason to buy. Or if you release your music on vinyl, Vinyl is making a huge resurgence. Like I said earlier, over $4 billion was spent last year on physical music, and a big portion of that is vinyl because it's becoming commonplace for a lot of people to now own record players again. Now, you may or may not. I assure you that I know dozens of people that have record players now, so I can assure you that it's happening. If you look at the stats, vinyl sales have been on a rise for the past 10, 15 years. So again, just if you don't listen to vinyl, just be aware that your fans probably do. And that's a good way to get them to buy, because you can't replicate that on Spotify. The experience of owning a vinyl album, which a lot of people use as a display piece, they display their albums like in a portion of their living room. People have an entertainment console with their record player and all their vinyl albums, and their favorite ones that they just recently purchased are all displayed prominently so you can see the cover. Like, this is the reality of this subculture of people that are listening to vinyl music. It's more than just listening to the music. There's an audio quality that you don't get elsewhere. There's just more to it than simply listening to music. So there's something else that fans get from vinyl that they don't get from streaming. So now, again, you're giving them a reason to buy. You might have an exclusive limited edition version for your super fans. That's maybe a different color. Maybe it's autographed. Maybe you have additional bonus tracks that you can't even download. There's all kinds of additional value that you can add to give your fans a reason to spend money with you, and your super fans are likely to do it because they want that exclusivity. They want that something extra that other people can't get because they are a super fan. So another reason that people will spend money on music is if they go to a live show, they come see you perform live, they commemorate the experience by purchasing a souvenir to take with them. Sometimes it's a t-shirt, sometimes it's an album. And a lot of times the people that are buying music, it's not even for them. A lot of times people will buy box sets. The people that are going to spend the most money are probably going to be purchasing gifts for other people. So if somebody's a fan of yours and like a good friend of theirs is a fan and they're having a birthday, they very well might spend a little bit of extra money to buy them something that they wouldn't buy for themselves, that they can't stream, to give as a gift. Okay, so there's a lot of reasons why people will spend money with you, but it's not going to be people that just know who you are. It's going to be people that are fans, or especially the super fans. So you might be thinking, okay, well, I don't even have that many people that know who I am. Like, why would I be concerned about this stuff? Well, the fact of the matter is you probably aren't right now, but someday you will be. The goal is to eventually have a fan base, I would think. So eventually this is something you might get to. Right now, if you don't have enough people that stream your music or follow you, you're not going to be worried about this stuff yet. You're not probably going to be worried about selling music just yet, but it's something that you need to keep in mind because this is where your revenue is going to come from. Streams don't pay anything, by the way, just in case you weren't aware of that. When you see music videos with rappers with like diamond rings driving Bugattis, I promise you that that's not coming from Spotify revenue. And understanding the distinction here between somebody that knows who you are and getting people to know you and catering to fans and your super fans, this is important to keep in mind with releases when you're releasing music as well. Because you hear nowadays that it's all about, it's a singles market. It's all about the streams and catering to Spotify's algorithm and all that good stuff. And you have to release singles. Nobody listens to albums anymore, which is also incorrect. But it's all about streaming, it's all about the singles, release music more frequently, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That depends on how many people you have in these buckets, right? So if you don't have any fans or super fans, then you probably need to focus on releasing singles. If you have fans, and especially if you have the super fan people, you very well may want to focus on album releases because you have the people there that are going to spend the money. That when you release that deluxe box set special edition that's only available in limited quantities for a limited time, when people buy your music that first week. If you have the customer base that's going to spend money there, then it makes sense to do that. Back to Nine Inch Nails again. Back before Spotify even existed, they were one of the first bands to give their music away for free and still make a bunch of money selling it. There was an album that came out called Ghost 1 through 4 back in like 2006, 2007, something like that, where Nine Inch Nails released their music for free. Anybody could go download it. And this was back before you could just stream music anyway. So people they were giving it away for free. It was pretty revolutionary at the time and still made $1 million in sales the first day that album came out. Because while they gave it away for free to people that knew the band and even to their fans, their super fans were willing to spend a lot of money on something special that they couldn't get elsewhere. Deluxe box sets, the actual physical album even, and whatever else it was that they were selling. And yes, that only really works when you have a big enough fan base. If you still don't have these people and you're only working on getting more people to know you, that's probably not going to be applicable to you, but it still can be on a small scale. Even if you only have a few hundred or a few thousand people that are fans of yours, they very well might be willing to spend money. And if they're looking forward to an album release, if they're looking forward to you releasing new music, they might be willing to spend a little bit of money on that. Okay, so that's a question that I get asked a lot of times is, should I focus on releasing singles or should I focus releasing albums? Well, if you do this right, if you release an album correctly, you're gonna make a heck of a lot more money than you would ever make with streams. So in that circumstance, when you already have the fan base, it makes sense to release albums still, believe it or not. It doesn't help you as much with the Spotify algorithm, so you have to take that into consideration, but it can help you make a heck of a lot more money than you're gonna generate from Spotify anyway. So something to think about. If you have the fan base, you can still release albums. If you don't have a fan base and you don't have that many people that even know who you are yet, then there's no point in planning a big album release because nobody's looking forward to it. The only way that an album release works is if you have the fan base that's awaiting that music. If you don't have the fan base, there's no point in really releasing an album. You're better off to release singles from the album every 6 to 8 weeks and cater to Spotify's algorithm so that you can get more people to know you. And as you get more people to know you, then when you have your next release, you can start to build a fan base here by getting more people to know you, by releasing the singles, and then you start to build a fan base, and then you do start to have people that are looking forward to your next release, and then you might consider doing an album release next time. All right, so hopefully all of that makes sense. But the point here is that people do still buy music. These people don't buy music. When you say nobody buys music, yeah, no, these people that just know who you are or don't even know who you are, they're not gonna spend any money with you. They're not gonna buy your music. These people do buy music. So understanding the distinction between people that know you and just stream your music and your actual fans, yes, there are people that will buy music. And if you understand how to give them additional value, give them a reason to spend money with you, they'll do it. Okay, so people still spend money with you, just not these people. All right, so hopefully all of that makes sense. If it doesn't, just go back and rewatch the video up to this point. So now at this point, if you do already have an existing fan base and you want to start selling music with them, stick around because I'm gonna show you exactly how you can do that. I'm gonna show you some tools to help you facilitate that. If you don't have the fan base yet, just focus on getting those streams so that you can build a fan base and then eventually start selling music to them. But now I'm gonna hop over to my computer and show you some resources that you can use to actually sell your music online. All right, so this video is already running a little bit longer than I expected, so I'm gonna go through the rest of this a little bit quickly. For those of you that haven't released music yet, or if you weren't aware of this, when you use your a distributor like DistroKid, CD Baby, TuneCore, GyroStream, any of these platforms, these are required to get your music on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, all those great streaming platforms, and they'll get you distributed everywhere. So most of these services will get you on like 150 plus streaming platforms for one flat fee. They also get you into iTunes and Amazon Music, so you can still sell your music there by uploading your music through your distributor and getting it on streaming platforms. It is already available to purchase online in places like iTunes and Amazon Music. So you could just send your fans there to download your music. That's, you know, the first, simplest, easiest way to start selling your music online. And if you'd like to learn a little bit more about the differences between some of these different distributors, I'm not going to get into them right now, but just go ahead and check out the playlist that I created in the video description and you can get more details on those. But if you do want to sell your music online and you don't want to have to pay iTunes a fee, and you want to sell directly to your fans, you can use a service like Gumroad. Gumroad will allow you to create payment pages, accept payments, and deliver digital downloads of your music without having to pay that fee to iTunes. So if you want to sell directly to your fans, Gumroad's a great option for digital downloads as well as for physical. So if you want to sell physical stuff, I recommend Disc Makers because you can go over to their site. They let you press CDs, DVDs, Blu-ray, vinyl. They help you with your packaging and whatnot. You basically just tell them the quantity you want, like what it is that you want. Is it vinyl, CDs, what quantity, where you live, all that. They tell you how much it is, you pay them, and they just send it to you. And then you can sell it to your fans. Of course, you still need to be able to collect payment information and all that stuff. So again, if you want to like sell this out of your house or apartment, then you can use Gumroad to take payments and get customer information and ship directly to your fans. Or if you want someone to do it for you, Amazon offers a service called Amazon FBA. This allows you to send off all of your albums, all your vinyl, all your merch to Amazon. They store it in one of their warehouses, and then you'll just sell through Amazon's website, and then Amazon handles everything for you. They take the payment, they ship your music to your fans, and they collect the payment and everything, and then they just send you your cut less their fees. So it's $40 a month plus selling fees. So I do recommend only using this if you are doing a certain amount of volume. You don't want to sell it yourself and you like to have Amazon help you, but it makes your life super simple in terms of selling your music online, especially with physical stuff. And if you don't want to send your fans over to an Amazon page, you want things to look a little bit more professional, I would recommend Shopify. Shopify lets you create nice looking fully customized online stores, so like online merch stores. You can customize it however you want it to look, and it integrates with Amazon FBA, so you can have a nice looking, professional, custom looking page that you build with Shopify where your fans can buy your music, and then it'll still be fulfilled by Amazon. So Amazon still handles all the payment processing and ships it to them and everything. So that's a pretty good combination if you're doing some volume. And then last but not least, if you want to sell your music on vinyl and you don't want to pay the cost of getting it all pressed up front, you can use a service like Q-Rates. And Q-Rates is basically a crowdfunding platform for getting your albums pressed. So I believe the minimum is like 100, so you'd have to have 100 fans that want to purchase your album in order for it to work. But essentially you upload your music to Q-Rates, you create a campaign, tell your fans about it. If they want to buy your music on vinyl, then they purchase it, and if you hit the minimum number required to get that pressed, Q-Rates handles everything else. They press it, they ship it to your fans, they take the payment, and then they send you a check. So those are some resources that I would recommend checking out if you want to sell your music online. With your typical distributor, DistroKid, CD Baby, TuneCore, whatever distributor you're using to get your music on Spotify, Apple Music, streaming platforms, they will also get your music put on iTunes and Amazon so people can digitally download it. If you want to sell directly to your fans, whether it's digital or physical, I would recommend checking out Gumroad. You will, of course, need to get CDs or vinyl pressed if you want to actually sell physical music. So Disc Makers is a good place to do that. If you want to have Amazon handle all the legwork of taking payments and shipping your music out to your fans for you, Amazon FBA will help you with that. And then you have Shopify if you want to customize your own online merch store. It integrates with Amazon FBA, so Amazon will still handle all the fulfillment, and you can have your own custom cool looking merch store with Shopify. And then of course Q-Rates if you want to start selling vinyl but you don't have the money, or you don't want to shell out the money for getting a bunch of albums pressed in vinyl in advance. And don't forget about why the KFS factor is so important in understanding where the majority of your listeners are. If nobody knows who you are, you need to focus on that. Probably not a good time to start selling your music, but once you do have a fan base, these resources that I just mentioned are going to help you facilitate the process of actually selling your music to your fan base. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If you have, please be sure to share it with other musicians and producers that you know that could get some value out of this. They'll think you're super cool for sharing such an awesome video. It also helps me get the word out about my channel. So I appreciate it. If you did like the video, please be sure to let me know in the comment section below. Give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button and tick the little bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are released on the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.